Canadian women's hockey has been on a bit of a gold medal streak, and today's guest has been a part of that. Welcome to this episode of Beauties Sports.
Doesn't matter if you're an athlete, parent, coach, or just a fan of the game. Everyone's welcome at Beauties Sports, baby. Let's go.
Addie Miles Abbott, we are hockey people, and we are not as good as our guest.
We are not as good as our guest, and we cannot wait to talk to her about all of her experiences. Holy man.
Exactly. So Jocelyn Amos, welcome to Beauty Sports. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
We have tried to schedule this a few times. You are a busy human being for a teenager, but I really love and enjoy that you are. So thank you for making the time. We appreciate you very, very much. But before we get into anything else, we have to plug our social media because we forget to do it at the end of every single episode. It is just a fact at this point, right?
It's pretty much a fact, yes. We got to work on it for sure.
And then that's that. So if this is your first episode of Beauty Sports, thank you for joining us. Welcome. We hope that you are a repeat offender like the rest of you who are listening and come back and join us every week on Tuesday. If you have Instagram, that's a great place to join us. You can find us at Beauty Sports Talk. You can find Addie at Addie Miles Abbott. You can find me at Cowie14. Jocelyn, do you want people to find you?
They can find me. Jocelyn _ Amos.
There you go. Jocelyn _ Amos. You can find her. And then the last thing that we ask is lots of people tend to share this by text message or send it with someone on Instagram. But one of the ways that helps us be found by people who don't know who Beauty Sports is if you head on over to wherever you listen to this thing, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of the other random apps that are out there that we see in our numbers and statistics on the back end of this thing, and leave us a 5 stars only rating and a review. Like we say every week, 5 stars only really helps. If you feel less than 5 stars, just message Addie on Instagram and she'll respond to you. Don't even bother finding me.
You would.
Yeah, exactly.
Would.
Send the garbage her way.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, I think that's our housekeeping things. Oh, the last thing. If you are looking to rock some new clothing that says beauties on it, it's one of the most universal words that we have heard in sports. We see it on social media and in posters and in locker rooms everywhere we go. Oh, that kid's a beauty. She's a beauty. He's a beauty. There's lots of good merch online at beautysports.com/shop.
I've got a really cute story because with the, our merch store and all these things coming up with beauties, it's so, I had a little girl come up to me at the rink the other day and she goes, Beauty Sports. And I was like, yeah, that's it, baby, you got it. And she's like, am I a beauty? And we pounded it. I was like, of course you're a beauty. I was like, it is the best word.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Connects people.
Most universal word.
That's right.
Okay, Joss, we were talking about it before we hit record today, but Jocelyn is from the booming metropolis of Ailsa Craig, Ontario. And we asked you who claims you. And you said, Ailsa Craig claims me. That's where I'm from. That's what you identify as from. But can you start out by talking about the first times you put on skates, the first jersey you put on? Where did life as a hockey player begin for Jocelyn Amos?
Well, minor hockey career started in Lucan, which is 10 minutes from my house, not far at all. But I put on the skates for the first time just in our backyard, our pond that we have on our property, and then just public skates at the arenas around us. So I always wanted to be like my older brothers, and they both played hockey, so I was always battling it out with them, and so I wanted to play as soon as I could.
So it was a no-brainer. It was hockey skates, literally right outside your back door growing up.
Oh yeah, I got pictures of me when I was 2 years old running around on the pond just with a helmet and boots on, so it was always something I wanted to do.
Amazing. How much older are your brothers?
They're 4 and 5 years older than me, so I was always trying to keep up with them, even though there was the age gap.
Yeah, that'll push a competitive streak right off the hop, trying to keep up to 4 and 5 year old older than you brothers. That's awesome. So talk to us about obviously playing in Lucan, and then at what point in your career, how long have you spent time like playing in London? Where was the transition point for you? Now you're you're called Junior Devilettes, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
they call us.
So at what point did you transition from wearing a Lucan jersey into a London Devilettes jersey?
So I played in Lucan like for a while when I was little. I switched over. I think I was second year Adam age, so like still kind of young. And then I went and played in Blue Water for 1 year, which is London's rivalry team. So then I played there for 1 year, and I made the switch to London in my first year of Pee Wee, and then I've played there ever since. Okay. So I've been in London for a while, and yeah, Lucan and London were two big places that I played.
That's awesome. So I'm from a city, and I'm sitting with two country gals here. Was it the same experience for you growing up that you also had to play every single sport in the town? Did you also play volleyball, soccer, basketball? Did you have to hit all the sports too?
So I played hockey and either baseball or softball since I was little. And then with my school, we were a really small school, so I played every intramural sport we had and everything we did. So I did cross country, track and field. We had like a floor hockey, a soccer, juke ball, like all these little teams. So I did every sport that my elementary school offered. And then like all outside of school, I did hockey, softball, and then one summer I did track and field just to switch it up for fun. But those were my main sports, and it would take up, like I'd finish hockey, I'd go right into baseball. So they took up a lot of my time.
Same.
Seems like the country pathway is just very similar.
If you are in small town Ontario or small town Manitoba, if you have even a single athletic bone in your body, you end up on the same path you and I did. And it was the same thing, the hockey, fastball mix. And I even know lots of guys too that there was a young fellow that just came out of Surrey and is playing in the AHL with Buffalo's team, but he had an interview, and I thought it was interesting because he said he used to put his hockey equipment away in the summer, and he played ball, and that's what I did growing up, and I think there is something to be said too about taking a break from a sport, learning to love and miss it, but also being a dual sport athlete or a multi-sport athlete and different muscle development, coordination development, all of those things. So very, very, very cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so. And I always have to ask country athletes now, because it seems as though that same progression is for every single one. So the one thing that I'm really interested to hear from you is when you as an athlete started to really understand that this is something that you wanted to take to the next level. When, it sounds like you played a ton of sports growing up. Was there a moment when you were playing hockey that you're like, this is it? And was that a mindset thing, or was it when you got to play with high level athletes? What was it for you where you were like, this is it for me?
For that, I'd have to say when I was growing up, I'd always watch the guy side of things, just with my two older brothers. I was always watching their games. So I never really saw the female side, but I think not seeing that made me enjoy the game, and I was always just out there having fun. And then once I got older and I moved to London, I think it was my first year Bantam, I got to play up with the junior team, the team I'm on now. And there was Julia Gosling, Nicole Gosling, who both played on the U18 team and won gold. I saw them do that. I was like, oh, that's something that I could do, because I was playing up with them when they were gone and stuff. So I think that year was a big year, because then I knew the following year would be my grade 10 year. And once I was done grade 10, I could start talking to the university. So I knew then I really had to focus in on that. But just before I really set my goals on it, I think the competitiveness I have from always trying to catch up with my brothers just always pushed me to be my best, even without that goal in mind.
It's funny because I don't think, what are we, like 9 minutes into this episode? And I don't think we've even said that. So for those of you listening, when I said off the top that Jocelyn's way better at hockey than we are, she just, casually was part of the last 2 U18 women's national teams who have brought home gold medals. So when you say, and I think that's a very cool part of that story, is that really lit the fire for you. And then to come out and have that opportunity, and now bring home 2 gold medals yourself. I can't wait for in 4 or 5 years when we have the next Jocelyn Amos from your area of the country that says that fire was lit for me when Jocelyn and her teammates came home with gold medals.
Yeah, it's like when I saw them come home and like their team welcomed them, I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then saw them out at, I think, we were in the London Knights Arena for something. Our whole team was there, and the Goslings were dropping the puck or doing something. I was like, yeah, that's definitely something. Like, that's amazing. And then, like, the 5 of us from London who were on this past team got to go out on the London Knights, like, rink between periods for recognition and got a standing ovation. So I was like, wow, that is pretty special.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, much deserved. Standing much deserved.
Yeah. Let's pause there on something you just said, because I think it's a really unique experience to get to take 4 of your teammates, or not take, but go with 4 of your teammates to an international tournament and win a gold medal. So can you speak to us just about the atmosphere? Let's focus a little bit on your London team. The atmosphere in that group that you believe has helped foster clearly elite competitive athletes for 5 of you to make our national team.
Yeah, our team, like, we're really competitive with each other, whether it's in the gym or on the ice. Like, it can be like we're working out and it's like you see someone grab a heavier dumbbell, you're like, oh, I'm going for the heavier one too then. And like, I think that pushes us. And then on the ice, we always just want to push each other. And even sometimes we're like, oh, okay, like, we're going too far. Like, we're crossing the line here. So, like, you have to dial it back because it's getting too competitive for practice. But it's like...
Someone's going to get hurt.
Teal.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
I honestly think, like, that drive and that push we have for each other, like, is why 5 of us came out of our organization.
And it's we have Cowie and I have had numerous conversations, and that's one of the consistent themes that come out of a lot of the athletes that we have on the show is just that natural compete with the people that are naturally, like, around them on the day-to-day basis, and how it's so respected. Like, you are respected as a competitive athlete. You want to be better. You want to lift heavier weights. And it all goes back to that representation of people being able to see it. If people saw you guys training in the gym and, your rookies, say, coming into your organization, and then seeing 2 vet players go toe-to-toe under the squat rack, what do you think that rookie is going to do?
Yeah. It's true. It competitive breeds competitive. And it's one thing, Josh, that we've talked a lot about is that, we, even Addie and I mean, we feel old as dirt when we talk to folks like you, but we're not that old. But when you think back to, you just didn't have the same ability or the same setting to be able to compete with your peers. And so that's why we always talk about it, because it's such an honor to watch now all of these young athletes like yourself get to compete with one another, and you just push each other, like constantly pushing each other. It's so fun to watch. I want to spend some time on the Worlds, because you had very different experiences of the Worlds. So for those of you, excuse me, who aren't familiar, the U18 national team went into Madison, Wisconsin last year and ended up winning a gold medal 3-2 in the finals against the United States after, I'm going to use this term, getting steamrolled by the U.S. earlier in the tournament, getting stomped 7-0, and having to turn around and have a little internal check and come back. So let's start there, Joss. Can you talk to us about what you guys experienced as a team after losing to the United States and knowing that you're a better team than that, and then getting the opportunity in that same tournament to come back and prove a point?
Well, like, you'll never forget that feeling after losing 7-0, just sitting in the room. You're like, wow, like, that was pretty embarrassing. Like, never want to feel that again. So I think by the time it came back around for finals, like, we remembered that feeling, and like, we held it in the back of our heads until that time came again. So we changed our game plan. Like, we knew US was very skilled, so we were playing pucks in deep and go hard, like, pressure them everywhere. So we went out there with the same goal and like that feeling, knowing we don't ever want to feel that again, and we just did everything we could to not feel that. So yeah,
you guys came out on fire.
Absolute fire.
Came out on fire. So again, if those of you who didn't watch that, I'm sure there's YouTube videos of it somewhere, but I remember watching it because you guys came out and you scored 3 goals, and it was a 3-0 lead, and it felt like we were going to be on our way to a reverse score.
Yeah.
It was like, holy smokes, what's happening here? And then you might know the stats, but it was like, I don't know, insanely fast. 2 goals right before the break, right before the intermission, that the U.S. came back and made it 3-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, we got a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when they scored those 2 goals. Everyone on the bench, like, we knew we had to stay positive and like knock it down, because if we started getting down on ourselves, then they would take full advantage of that, especially being in front of their home crowd and having that loud atmosphere being for them. Like, we knew, like, we're like, okay, we have to stay up here and stay ready, because we're not letting them come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so from now, like, a little bit more of like a on the bench perspective, was it, you know, somebody yelling down the bench saying, no way, like, let's roll? They
had the reset, at least. It happened at a good time. If they were going to come back and pop 2 quick ones, it happened at the right time because you guys had an intermission reset.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, it wasn't one individual saying, like, let's go. It was, like, the whole team saying, like, let's go, which was
it was everyone.
Yeah.
Get together, women.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that that's like it's a team. It's accepted, and it's a team, because I think that is one of the best parts about sports, is that within a 60-minute game, the amount of emotions that you go through with 20 other people, you can't experience that any other way.
No. Did Grandpa Lawrence get to come to Madison, Wisconsin and watch you get a gold medal put around your neck?
He did. Grandpa and Grandma were in Madison, Wisconsin, and they also came to Sweden to watch. So they made both.
Heyo.
Yep.
Shout out Grandma and Grandpa. That's amazing.
Let's go.
I think they're also
a cool experience.
I think they're also coming out to PEI to watch that too.
Okay. I'm going to have to find Grandpa Lawrence when I'm in PEI.
Keep an eye out.
Okay, so you dropped that there. So we leave Madison. We have the comeback, after the tough loss to the United States. Always fun to beat the U.S., I'm sure. It's been fun as a fan, so I can only imagine as an athlete what that's like. And then it's a pretty quick turnaround into this past January, into the 2023 Worlds in Sweden. So talk to us about the shift in your team. Was there a core of you that were the same that went out of 2022 and entered into 2023? Talk to us about that transition of your team from one tournament to the next.
Yeah, so we finished the first Worlds, like it was in June, and then right in August we had Calgary camp. So there were 7 returners coming back off the win in Madison, Wisconsin. So we were in Calgary. There was 40 athletes. It was like the tryouts for the series and like the camp for Worlds too. So they were kind of looking at them for both. So pretty quick turnaround. And it was like, we were like, oh, like this is kind of weird. Like, I feel like we were just all together for for Worlds, and now we're trying to like refocus. But I think having that so soon, we were able to like help the people coming in, like the 7 of us, to take them under our arms and like make them feel comfortable and stuff. And we played the series, and then it wasn't too long. Like December came and it was like time to go to Worlds. So there was 2 changes from the series team to the Worlds team, and then like we were ready to go. We were doing some meetings just before going in, and then there was 7 returners who were like identified as the leadership group. So they were like amazing to work with, and then even like they were so good taking everyone in, and yeah, going right into the next Worlds. I think everyone was so excited because we knew that feeling from the first Worlds. Like we were ready to go for that one.
Oh, for sure. And so I think about, especially like when you're playing for Hockey Canada, it's incredible. But there is a different element when you're playing in North America, and then when you have to go play overseas. There's time changes, there's all different elements. Was there any preparation on your end specifically to handle all those different changes before you got there? Did you get there early to change your sleep cycle? Was there any small little, details that you had to manipulate?
Yeah, there was like lots of stuff before we even left. Like a week before, we had to start changing how we slept. So like you'd like go to sleep an hour earlier, wake up an hour earlier than like you usually do, and like slowly, just so when we got to Sweden, it wasn't as big as a jump. And then we did get there like a week before the actual tournament started. We went to Väsby, which is 20 minutes outside of Stockholm. So we had some time to adjust there in our pre-competition. And like they had like light books for us at breakfast and stuff because there's not as much sunlight there. And then everyone kept like, we'd come down for breakfast and be like, oh, what time did you wake up in the middle of the night? What time did you wake up? Because everyone was waking up in the middle of the night because of the time change.
It's hard. It's stuff that you don't think about. Like it's going to vacation. Doesn't matter if you jet lag, whatever. It's all good. But it's a big thing, especially in these short-term competitions, to adjust so that you can compete at your optimal level while you're there. And I think it's something that people underestimate. So it's a good question.
Well, and because when you say there's not as much sunlight. Like, I don't think there's 100% that matters to like every aspect
mental
of,
psyche.
So I think that there's definitely an element of high competition international because there's so many more elements that you have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So talk to us, you very humbly, which I appreciate always, talked about the leadership assignments. Talk to us about how that felt to have a C on your jersey. And then the second part of that is talk to us about your experience when you get injured and you had a teammate that picked up that C for you in your absence.
Well, yeah, wearing the C was a huge honor, like just to be recognized as a leader. And then I knew like I was going to do everything for my team, like wearing the C or not. And then to see when I got injured, like obviously not ideal. And then, but like they said, like you still a leader, like still like don't change. And then to see Emma like be able to pick that up, like she's my teammate back home in London and she works so hard every day. I knew there'd be no one better to wear it when I was gone. So like it didn't really, I would say I was like happy for her, I guess. Like, and then we obviously, there was some changes because then I added another A and Alexia Aubin, who is like so like fires up the team so well. It's just amazing to see. And yeah, wearing the C, huge honor. And then, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you like a personal question and you can answer however you want. What was the phone call like when you got to call your parents and say, I was just named captain of Team Canada?
So, well, the first time was in the series in the summer was the first time I got to tell them because I wore the C during the Canada-US rivalry series for the U18s. And then since the time change, I'm pretty sure my brothers and everyone were sleeping at home or like it was really late. So I sent a text to the group chat and like the response is all like they responded when they woke up in the morning and there was just all caps like, no way, like that's huge. And then when they'd make the Instagram posts, like my brothers and like it's like I have more brothers than I actually do because all their friends are stories and everything. So then when Worlds came, like I made sure I was like, well, you never know what can happen. Like I'm just going in to play hockey. Like it doesn't really matter. And then I was able to I sent them a picture actually of the three of us still with our letters on, and they were like saying congrats and everything, and they were super pumped and excited.
So jacked.
So amazing, because I think that, you know, we're talking about your journey and even this little span of hockey for you is insane because we haven't even started talking about the Canada Winter Games yet that you're going to soon.
Or the Ohio State.
Or the Ohio State. Oh my gosh, yeah. Right? And it's like you think about like when like how much your family has been a part of that. Like I think about those key moments and it's like those are just like you can't even almost describe them. They're incredible because it truly is a team within a team. Your family is your team too, helping get to the rink, make sure you're at training, make sure you're eating properly. Like it's a huge family commitment, right?
Big time.
Oh yeah. My whole family, like mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brothers, and then my one brother's girlfriend were all in Madison when we won, so that was pretty special. And then my aunt and my uncle were also there, so that was pretty cool too, that they were all there to support and watch.
Did you just get a big bus or?
Well, they all just
come around and pick everybody up.
You got it? Did they drive?
They did. It's like 9 hours from here, so it wasn't too bad.
That's the thing, right? It's like accessibility from where she is.
Yeah, that's true.
In comparison to us in the middle of Canada, not close to anything.
Yeah, very true. Very
makes
true.
a difference. So, yeah, I think it was very fun. I'm just going to say this. It was very fun to watch you and your teammates compete. Again, I would say that we talked about it, Addie and I think in a podcast like early last year after Canada won in the Olympics, and you kind of just had this feeling like watching them as a team interact on the bench, the amount of fun, and I think that reverberated through your club too, like that your team as well, where as a spectator I'm going to say that it felt like you were going to win.
I mean, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That is a very, very good thing.
Talk to us briefly before we skip out of Worlds and into Canada Games in Ohio of that final game for you guys at this past Worlds and how different that was. You know, you obviously had a pretty handed win in terms of a 10-0 victory there. Did that feel any different? Did it feel, talk to us just about the emotions behind that one for you.
Yeah, that one was, well, it was obviously crazy with the 10-0 win. I can't say I ever would have guessed that. So just going to that game, everyone was like really fired up, especially after the OT win against Finland, because we knew we didn't play our best against Finland, so we knew we had to clean it up and get ready to go for the finals. So we all came out and just put a complete effort forward, and like everyone was on the same page and was like ready to go for that game. And like everyone was just so excited on the bench, like the feelings and emotions, just pure like joy and excitement to be there and everyone. So in the final, I didn't play a whole lot in that game, like especially as the score like kept going up. So I got to go out like in the last like dying seconds, like be on the ice, just skating back to the goalie, and everyone throwing their gloves and everything was pretty crazy, and like nothing ever meets that feeling. So
yeah, I'm sure. One of this is very not good at hockey spectator comment here. One of my favorite things of watching this Worlds was seeing. I was in a bar in Stonewall, Manitoba, waiting for a hockey game. It was Avros versus Interlake, and watching TVs turn off the NFL and turn on the U18 Women's Worlds was like a proud woman moment for me.
That's
I was
right.
like, Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So I loved that. Anyways, side note. So congratulations again on 2 worlds, back-to-back worlds. What an honor to be a part of that, I'm sure. But we want to spend time briefly on, let's jump first to your commitment to, like I said earlier, the Ohio State, which I just love that they are of a caliber and of a status that's how they talk about themselves, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your commitment process. Was there other places that you had in mind? Did you want to be a Buckeye forever? What was that commitment like for you?
Before starting, so after grade 10 year, you could start talking to the schools. So before that came along, I was just thinking of some potential options, and Ohio was one of the ones I was interested in, because that was before they had won their national championship. So I could see they had gotten better over the years, and especially under Muzz being their new coach. I saw followed the stats and stuff, and then I was it seems to be building that to be a place of interest. So then when the day came and I was able to talk to schools, and I did my visits to a few different schools, and I had options, but Ohio being one of the ones I liked from the beginning. And then it's also 5.5 hours from my house. The campus, although it's in a city, kind of, it doesn't feel like you're in a big concrete city, which I like. I really love the campus, and then their program was just amazing. So it made it pretty easy to make my decision.
Totally.
I love that. And driving distance for Grandpa Lawrence. I'm a big fan of that.
Me too. Me too.
Because I think one of the things too with us talking about Ohio State the way that we do is Cowie and I were actually podcasting exactly when Ohio State won their first national championship, and we sat here and we watched the emotion of that bench. We watched, you could tell there was just a fighter vibe there, which was, it sounds like it fits exactly with your competitive nature, which is very cool to hear.
Totally. Yeah, so congratulations on that. We're excited we love watching it. Now, sometimes we wish it was easier to watch some of the hockey, but I think we're on our way to that. I think it feels like women's sports in general is on our way to better accessibility, but we're excited to follow your career as you head down to Ohio.
Yeah.
But the last thing on our list is we got to talk about the Canada Games. So when this podcast airs, it will be the week before the Canada Games begin. And I want you to talk to us about your excitement level of heading into Charlottetown PEI and getting to play with your Ontario teammates and representing your province this time versus your country.
Well, that Team Ontario has always been a goal of mine as well. And I heard so much about the Canada Winter Games, and everyone says it's amazing and it's a mini Olympics, and you're just gonna love it. So I'm pretty pumped for it. There's so many sports that I've never seen in person, just over TV from the Olympics. So I'm excited to be able to see that and meet new people, because just open to the whole experience, and especially going with I know everyone on my team. I'm pretty close with the whole team already, so I know it's a really great group of girls, and I'm gonna enjoy the whole thing with them.
I love it. Have you ever been to PEI before?
Nope, I never have, so I'm pretty excited for that too. I've heard amazing things.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I'm excited to go and be a fan of this. To your point, to watch. I bought the pass for PEI for the Canada Games, so I can go to all the things. It was very, very affordable, but I'm super excited to take in that experience as a fan of sports, to watch you and other athletes in their sports. I can't wait. I was watching, and the crappy part of it is that there's the 2 weeks, and so some of the things I want to watch are this week. I'm like, well,
yeah,
that stinks.
Yeah, that's fair.
The arch or the gun shooting, whatever you call that, where they're on skis. Yeah. I'm like, I want to watch that. I want to watch squash. I want to watch the skiing, freestyle skiing. Like I want to watch it all.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the biggest challenge for me in PEI. Challenge number 1, find Grandpa Lawrence.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
Shout out Grandpa Lawrence. Task number 2 is take in as many events as I can, and I'm really excited to do that. So I'm looking forward to getting to watch you live in person. The very first game that I'm going to take in is your Ontario team versus our Manitoba team here. I'm excited to do that. So another congratulations to you on getting to represent your province. That'll be fun.
Well, thank you. And I find it funny about my grandpa because everyone always says my grandma and grandpa got more TV time than I did when I was at Worlds on both of them. So kind of an ongoing joke around. That's pretty funny.
Okay, well, we'll continue the joke just purely naturally that way then. Yeah. No problem.
I love it. So I'm going to put something in the universe because I think it was one of the cool. So I was at the Canada Winter Games in Whitehorse, and one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced in my life, and I want to put it in the universe because I want it to happen for you too, is we put all of our jerseys on a gym floor. So Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, everybody, and you went around and signed everybody's jerseys.
Oh, cool.
So I have a jersey signed from the entire
hockey Canada Games. That's a very cool thing.
I'm like, so
yeah, let's throw that in the universe.
Let's throw it out there.
Yeah.
See what's up. Because I hold that very near and dear to my heart. It was very cool.
For sure. Well, Joss, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate you, like we said, of making the time in a busy teenage life. But one last opportunity to give a shout out to whoever you want, your teammates, your World's teammates, your London teammates, your future Team Ontario teammates as you enter Canada Games, however you want to plug this, Grandpa Lawrence if you want to. One last opportunity for you to share a message before we let you go.
Well, yeah, if I'm giving a shout out, it'd be like my family and then my London team and then obviously both World's teams and then Team Ontario going in. Like I think we're ready to go, ready to kick some butt, do the best we can there.
Awesome.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you for being you first and foremost, but showing that being a competitive athlete is fun and exciting. And I know there's a ton of little girls watching you, and I cannot wait to see where your hockey career takes you. So congratulations. Amazing.
Yeah, we appreciate you, buddy. Thanks again.
No problem. Thank you, guys.